Hello everyone and welcome back to Mrs. B History. Today we're looking at something essential for your Anglo-Saxon and Norman England exam, the Anglo-Saxon economy. Now that might sound a bit dry, but trust me, the Anglo-Saxon economy was far more advanced than most people think. England wasn't just scattered farms, it had booming trade, specialist industries, wealthy towns and international connections stretching across Europe. By the end of this video, you'll understand how the Anglo-Saxons made their money, how towns grew, and how international trade linked England to the wider medieval world. One of the most important industries in Anglo-Saxon England was wool and cloth production. England's climate was perfect for sheep farming, so wool became the backbone of the economy. English wool was famous across Europe for its quality, so valuable, in fact, that merchants exported it to Flanders, where it was turned into fine cloth or sold across other European markets. But England didn't just export raw wool. Weaving also happened inside of England, usually carried out by women in households. By the late Anglo-Saxon period, some towns developed specialist cloth industries too. So why does this matter? Because wool meant money. Every time wool or cloth passed through a market or port, tolls and taxes were paid. That meant profit for not only farmers and merchants, but also for the king and local earls. Sheep farming also needed lots of land, so landowners, especially thanes and earls, invested heavily. This is one big reason that land ownership meant economic power in Anglo-Saxon England. Most people in Anglo-Saxon England were farmers. Different regions specialised in different types of agriculture. South and east were great for grain like wheat and barley. The north and west had more pastoral farming such as sheep and cattle, whilst the Midlands had a mix of crops and animals. This meant internal trade was essential. Areas producing lots of grain supplied regions that couldn't grow enough. Meanwhile, pastoral regions supplied livestock, milk, leather and wool. Importantly, many farmers produced a surplus, meaning more food or goods than they needed for survival. Surplus products could be sold at markets, helping both peasants and their lords make money. Agriculture wasn't just about food, it was the engine that powered the entire Anglo-Saxon economy. Anglo-Saxon England was deeply connected to Europe through international trade. England used silver pennies as currency, but the interesting part is this. Most of the silver used in coins came from German mines. That means England exported goods like wool to pay for imported silver. England also imported other essential items, such as millstones from the Rhineland, which is essential for grinding grain, whetstones from Norway for sharpening tools and weapons, wine from France, a luxury for the wealthy. Other high status imports included silk, spices, glass and pottery. All of this flowed through major ports like London, where English and foreign merchants traded regularly. So when the exam asks you about trade, remember, England wasn't isolated. It was part of a major European trading network. Even though England was mostly rural, towns were becoming increasingly important by 1066. However, still only about 10% of people lived in towns, but that was a sharp rise from earlier centuries. So why did they grow? Firstly, for security. Many were fortified burhs built to protect against Viking raids. Secondly, due to markets. Towns held regular weekly markets where people bought and sold goods. Thirdly, due to craftsmen and traders. Towns supported specialised jobs that villages couldn't sustain, like metal workers or leather craftsmen. Towns became busy places filled with artisans, traders, foreign merchants and permanent marketplaces. By the 11th century, towns were at the heart of England's economy. England's transport system helped trade to grow. The Anglo-Saxons used the old Roman road network, which connected major towns and made transporting goods much easier. Towns built along these routes often became trading hubs. But rivers were even more important. They allowed merchants to move heavy goods like grain or wool far more efficiently. Towns like York on the Ouse and London on the Thames thrived because they connected road networks and rivers. This combination of roads and waterways formed a highly effective transport system for the time. Two towns dominated Anglo-Saxon England. London was the largest, with around 10 to 15,000 people. It was a massive trading centre and it connected England to Flanders, France on the Rhineland. It was wealthy, politically important and full of merchants. Then there was York. This was the second largest town. It had strong trade links with Scandinavia, reflecting its Viking past. It was known for metalwork, leatherwork, and craft industries, and it was a gateway for trade with Norway and Denmark. Both towns showed just how internationally connected Anglo-Saxon England really was. Most Anglo-Saxons, however, lived in villages, in ordinary houses. These were small wooden buildings with wattle and daub walls, with thatched roofs, one or two rooms, and very basic living conditions. There would also be a Thanes manor. This had a larger wooden hall and was a symbol of wealth and power. It was surrounded by barns, workshops, and storehouses, and was the centre of local administration and authority. The village church was usually wooden but sometimes stone and built by the Thane. It was the spiritual and social centre of the community. This was the everyday economic world of most Anglo-Saxon people. For Edexcel, you'll face the describe two features question. It might ask you to describe two features of trade in Anglo-Saxon England, where you could talk about the exporting of wool to Flanders, creating a connection to European markets and generating major tax revenue. You could also mention the imports like silver from Germany or wine from France. You might also be asked to speak about the growth of towns, burghs and markets, regional farming, York and London, or roads and rivers. So that's it for the Anglo-Saxon economy. From woolen trade to towns, villages and imports, we've seen that England before 1066 was far more advanced and connected than you might expect. I hope this helps you feel more confident for your GCSE exams. If you found this video useful, please like, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you'll never miss a revision session. Good luck with your studies and I'll see you in the next video.